What's up guys, Sub-Zeric here, and look, I was gonna VOD review somebody else for today's video, but Robin Songs went on an insane run of games last night, 1.6 AVP over, this is 11 games, one game that's not a top 2 and it's a third, you can just see it in his LP graph, just exploding, just taking a damn rocket ship to like rank 2, because I think Dish Soap is still so high elo, Setsuko is still so high elo, that someone was still ahead of him even after that crazy run. But I wanted to watch some of Robin to see, what he was doing to have such an insane run. Because when you're having such an insane run like that, it usually means the patch is super clicking and you're playing really good TFT. We've seen this before from some insane players when they have a really good read on the meta, and when they're playing really good TFT, they can just almost sometimes remove all the variance from a game like TFT. And already something pretty interesting, he's going to pick up the Dazzler Nami for this start. He's definitely buying this just because we have a Gragas already. He had the Gragas Tark already, so he knows he can play towards this Disco opener. Obviously, you would usually prefer something like a Disco Nami, but the Dazzler Nami's not bad, just to make sure that that Dazzler is activated. It's just that 4 Disco is a really nice opener, but 3 Disco is also a nice opener, and now we're just looking for a Guardian or a Bruiser to pair with this board. If we can get into like the set, then we can do some really cool stuff. So yeah. Shock Treatment looks like a pretty solid augment in this opener. The question is just what are we actually playing from this spot? Because, you can go Shock Treatment, you can slam something like a Crown Guard here. I mean, that's the only slam that makes any sense here. He does have Seraphine Pair already, which would be cool to play like a Seraphine reroll game from this spot. You have half of Shojin in this position. The issue is that it's going to be so expensive to actually hold on to these Seraphines until later, that it's going to be hard. Also, it's really awkward to hold on to the Superfan units with this opener, just because they don't really, I mean, I guess the Kennen fits in as a Guardian, but holding onto the Lilias, it's going to hurt your Econ. But yeah, I mean, this is a fantastic opener. I'm just really curious to see what Robin actually plays from this spot, because yeah, I mean, the Static Shiv is a great slam early. I've seen a lot of people play Static Shiv with Vex, because it's a solid item on her, gives her attack speed, and also the tier just being as a part of the Static Shiv allows her to get that first cast off pretty quickly. I know Dish Soap, someone who really likes just like a Static Shiv on a Vex. So maybe it could be like a Vex carry, like Executioners type game. The only problem with that angle is that Crown Guard tends to not be that great of an item on a Mumu, just because his AP scaling isn't the best. So yeah, I guess the angle that makes the most sense to me is some kind of reroll angle, some kind of like Seraphine setup here. I mean, obviously there is the TF angle, but then you'd have to play TF, so that's the issue. There's a Disco Taric in shop. Sadly, we'd end up losing the Nami, and losing the Nami too. So hurts way too much to do that. We did pick up the Olaf too, which is a fantastic upgrade here. And I assume we're just gonna hold on to this Kennen for our next level. But yeah, he's really holding on to the Seraphine. I don't know if that's because he's thinking of angling Seraphine. I think he's definitely keeping Seraphine reroll open, holding these units, but you probably have to end up holding the Kennen over the Lilia, I would think, in this position, just because it fits in so well as your next in. And yeah, that makes sense. And the Seraphine's also just not a bad unit to add later just to this board if you can get like Echo and you can play Spellweavers really well. I mean, yeah, you want a tier item here. I would think Shojin works perfectly on Seraphine. Wow, and he might even get, oh, so close to picking up 3-cost Shojin. There is yeah, he ends up picking up the Gragas the Cloak here, which can either be Adaptive Helm, or it can just be hold on to this component. He's going to immediately slam Adaptive Helm, I think, because we're in this galaxy that rewards you for slamming items. And yeah, I was going to say, like, surely we're going to level in this position. So he doesn't actually, like, slamming Adaptive Helm doesn't make you Econ here, because you want to hold these 2 units, I would imagine. So I think he could have actually held on to this Cloak here. I think it's actually a little bit, him just playing a tad bit sloppy to slam the Adaptive Helm here. Obviously, you would like to slam it in a lot of cases, but I think, especially if you end up, oh, wow, no, he's just going to sell and make 20? Okay, so, I mean, then the Adaptive Helm makes perfect sense. Wow, I'm surprised he doesn't value the Gragas pair very highly. He really values just making the Econ there. I think maybe that sort of gives the idea that he doesn't really care about playing Disco this game, because he doesn't really care about the Gragas upgrade. But that's interesting. Yeah, and I mean, of course, making your first few rounds of Econ is really important. So, it's not that crazy of a play, but interesting that, yeah, he doesn't value the Gragas pair. I guess it's never gonna have items on it because we have this Crown Guard on the Taric already. So I could certainly see it. But yeah, I mean, it's very Robin Songs TFT. Make Econ, play strong board early, slam all these items, and then we'll get to late game and see what happens. I mean, if this was a super straightforward Robin Songs game, because he really likes playing these very linear lines, Disco into Disco, then I would expect him to play Disco late game. But Disco, I feel like it's just so bad. If we get 2 items here and no gold, we could always slam an item here to make income. So that's something to think about. We have the chain vest here, so yeah, definitely something to consider if he. But nah, he's gonna get gold here. He can just hold on to the Lulu. Fantastic unit. He's gonna slam the Gunblade here, which I think is another really nice item if you want to play for TF. I mean, I don't know. The more he slams items, the more this looks like just a TF angle. But I don't know. I mean, I would be shocked. I would be shocked if we actually ended up playing TF on this patch, because it is very, very. It's not terrible. You know, I think if there's a spot to play Disco from, it would be this one. Because the comp can still cap out relatively high. The problem is it's just so bad on level 8. Like, if you can get to level 9 and play around like the Ziggs and the Sona and like the Kiana and stuff like that, then the comp can be solid. The problem is it's just so weak on level 8 compared to other comps. Gifts and Martyr are both fantastic augments here. I wonder what you would go for. I would probably angle Gifts here because Martyr, like we already have the healing from Gunblade. Crown Guarded is also solid, but I actually probably would pick up one of the other ones. I'm leaning Gifts here, but obviously Martyr is a very solid augment as well. He's going to angle, yeah, he's just going to go for the Martyr there. Crash Test also, if you wanted to play, this TF would be another insane option as well. And he picks up a Vex here. Just a Vex 2 actually in his shop. He's hit so many upgrades at this point, actually. Kind of crazy. But yeah, Vex 2, I mean, definitely not a bad just random unit to have on your board. Eventually, potentially, you can move these Nami items over to the Vex on maybe like level 7 or level 8. I mean, like I was talking about, right? This could be a Vex game. There is the Amumu, which fits so well onto this board with the Guardian. So I don't know. I mean, we naturaled 3 Vexes. Maybe it's just a Vex game. Push 7. These are fantastic Vex items. Yeah, and then it works really, really well. He's also holding onto these Lulus. Could be like a Lulu game. Could be just sort of like a standard AP game. He's holding all the lines open, which is just really, really good TFT. So very, very cool to see from Robin. And I mean, he's getting rewarded with a really, really nice win streak for all of his item slams. That allows him to play insanely flexibly, because if you have a lot of gold, you can kind of just play whatever. Gonna hold on to another Taric here, even to keep the Disco option open so we can move items later. He's got this Chain Vest open here. Could be a Sunfire, I guess. We're getting a little late into the game to build something like a Sunfire, but it is Heal Cut. There's a little random Blitzcrank if you want to like really think about playing that TF angle. We can't pick that up. I would, yeah, just pick up the Chain Vest here. I don't know if it's going to be Bramble, though. You have to scout the lobby a little bit, but he's just going to slam it immediately. So I guess he sees that the lobby is AD intensive enough that it's worth making this. And yeah, he's just going to get the Lulu in here, continue to keep this this emo core in. Lulu, just a nice random unit to play on your board, similar to the Vex, actually. We'll just do decent work here. But yeah, he's just playing good units. I mean, look, well, I was going to say there's an MF player, but they're not really an MF player. This person almost looks like they're angling TF Shojin. They have the static Shiv as well, but they have this BT, so they're probably angling for like an Akali Karthus type angle, but kind of awkward with the static Shiv. I don't think that's the best item in this comp. Ooh, Emo Amumu is an interesting pick up. And yeah, he's going to go for it here. A much better item holder for these items. Only downside is we don't have 4 Emo in, but yeah, we can just get back Disco in here. Yeah, I like this a lot. Just play around the Emo Amumu. This can easily push us to a fast level 8. 8 on 4-2 potentially if he wants to play that kind of stuff, or it could be some kind of Vex reroll comp, though. If we end up doing that, we'll probably end up selling the Amumu later. It's fine for now, of course, to preserve our streak, but yeah, it's a little bit awkward to actually end up playing around this Vex as a carry without having the Executioner headliner. Wow, by the way, we pick up a Kiana here, which I assume we're going to have to hold on to. Could be, more of an idea towards playing into that Disco line. And we also pick up Executioner here, which is really, really nice. TG, Hodge. Neither of these seem like amazing slams to me. He's just going to make the TG here onto the Kiana, which is, I mean, yeah, she's a great holder of it. Yeah, Hodge doesn't really do anything, so I guess if you were to slam something, it would have to be TG here. He doesn't actually have... No, he does have true damage in with the Kennen. Yeah, it actually fits together. Wow, holding the Kennen was actually so genius mode because it fits together so well. This Kiana that we got early can potentially farm us items. I mean... What a sick early game. Sadly, we didn't farm anything here. The Kiana ended up getting onto a unit with the Ornn items gloves, so that's never going to be anything. And he can just go 8 next level. I wonder... I mean, maybe you could go just like a fast 9. I mean, Keepers is fantastic if you want to play a TF game, but once again, TF game, like really? I don't really like either of these other augments. I mean, we have a lot of 3 costs in right now. I mean, the Threeser Crowd could be just solid for now as a tempo augment. I don't love teaming up in a spot like this. He's going to go Infusion? Wow. I mean, Infusion I think is a very okay augment. It makes a decent amount of sense in a spot like this because we actually don't have a lot of mana gen built onto like our team. We just have this adaptive helm on this Vex here. You know, we're not like an Ari comp where like the mana gen is often going to be wasted because we're just going to be like auto, okay, we're done. So it seems solid on this board. It's going to get the Kiana casting, and it really looks like we're just going fast 9 in this position. Definitely not a Vex reroll setup because we haven't seen any extra Vexes. He picks up the Bruiser Zac here, which is going to be solid over the Amumu. The only downside is we're losing Emo here, which is a little bit scary. And he's going to get another Executioner in right now because he doesn't need to play for this like Kennen or anything anymore. So yeah, I mean, just flex TFT. He's got the Zac, who's like, in my opinion, a pretty mediocre tank. Honestly, I don't think we want to be staying in this Zac for a long time. I think he's so much weaker than something like a Poppy as your sort of like main tank. But he fits decently onto the board. You know, he's ETM for Zac or for the Zed, and I mean, he's a 2-star 4-cost, so there's nothing wrong with that. We just have tier open here. I wonder what that's gonna even become. I have no clue. Something like I guess you could go like a frontline item like a Redemption. I was looking at Rod here for Archangels for some kind of late game. What 5-cost carry are you gonna play around with Archangels? I don't know, but I mean, that definitely looks like what he wants to hold on to. Yeah, he's gonna make Archangels here. He has an Amumu in shop. I assume we want to get this in somehow. He'd have to drop Spellweaver, or he could drop the Akali, but then he would lose Executioner. It's pretty awkward to fit the Amumu, huh? You could drop the Zed, you would lose Crowd Diver and EDM, but Crowd Diver is kind of nice. Yeah, so I guess you can't really drop anything for this Amumu. It's so sad because, I mean, I feel like Emo would be really nice, but we do have so much mana gen that it's a bit hard. It doesn't actually matter that much. We are going to finally take our first loss here, but we are 55 gold, 88 HP, so we can easily just sack 2 rounds and then 5-2 this here, and then pivot into some kind of level 9 board. I still don't know exactly what we're playing. He's holding on to a lot of these disco units, so maybe it's, like I was talking about, I think the disco comp, it's pretty weak on level 8 if you're just playing around like TF2, but it can cap out very high if you can get to, you know, like the Ziggs and the Sona and all that cool stuff. So, I mean, maybe the idea is that because we're going fast 9, we actually might be able to play around the TF, and it's actually a comp that can cap out very highly. We're holding on to this Nami here. I mean, that might potentially be the idea. I guess we'll end up seeing. And we already have the Echo. We already have the Kiana. I mean, we even have this Zac, which could stay in for a little while, though we'd probably prefer to find a better headliner. Zac Bruiser headliner is just, he's just not it that late into the game. But yeah, ooh, we get a 5-cost duplicator, which is going to make the fast 9 even better. Open item here. I would think you would just want a final tank item. Declaw looks solid. What else could you take here? I mean, you could go for like Sona item with something like a Shojin. I don't know. I like finishing my tank items here a lot. And we already have Bramble. He's going to go Adaptive Helm, though. Yeah, he just wants more mana gen, actually, on his backline. Doesn't care about the last tank item. But that's crazy to me that we go Adaptive here. Unless, I mean, maybe the idea is that he wants Adaptive on frontline later, and he's just going to put this here for now. But, I mean, Lulu's probably going to stay on the board if we end up playing TF. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he could play anything from this position. 5-2 here makes a lot of sense to level here. We have a lot of gold to roll. Rolls once and immediately finds Disco Blitzcrank. That's got to be pretty solid if we want to play towards Disco. Finds the Ziggs as well. Can get these items onto TF here. Finds a Sona that we can end up potentially playing over the Lulu once we find Sona 2. But yeah, I like this a lot. Do not play the Sona 2 yet. Or do not play the Sona until we find Sona 2. I think Lulu is way, way, way stronger right now because we get the 2 Hyper Pop in. Sadly, it looks like our backline got absolutely one-tapped there, which is pretty unfortunate. He's even holding this Blitz here for potential Blitz 3-star just because he's so rich. And, I mean, he was pretty healthy. He's getting less healthy now. Wow, that is a double TF shop there immediately, and an allow he picked up. So now he can get out of this extra Bruiser and get into a pretty standard board, though he's going to play the 4 Dazzler version, actually, which is pretty cool. And he's going to use his duplicator to make the Sona 2. Wow. I mean, that was a really clean transition into this comp. It took 2 rounds, but I mean, he basically full pivoted the entire board. Now let's see actually how well that this TF board can cap out, because I'm a hater. I'm an absolute hater of playing this comp if you're just going like, you know, fast 8, 4-2 type gameplay. But if this is your setup, if you can go fast 9, I mean, he's playing around a Sona 2. This comp can fit so many 5 costs into it. I think it actually makes a lot of sense. He's no heal cut right now, right? So this Morello actually looks really, really juicy. If you can't get that, I mean, I don't know. USS could be an attack speed item. But yeah, the Morello looks really, really nice. The Sona's going to spread it with her attack speed. It looks really, really good. Yeah. I think most people, when they play this comp, they end up like cutting the Nami later. So the idea would be like cut Nami plus Bard here and then get in other units. The idea would be like a Kiana +1, Kiana plus like York or something. But because we don't have Kiana 2 yet, I think this 4 Dazzler version definitely makes a lot of sense. Really, really nice positioning versus any like Akali's. The only scary thing is this Viego just gets to ult down the middle with this positioning. He's not doing the balls positioning where you put the 2 disco balls next to each other. He did just completely destroy Last Stand player though. So I think he thinks this is best positioning though. A lot of people really like those balls positioning if you can get to it, which he absolutely can in this position. But maybe I think this positioning is better versus something like an Akali. It's just much worse versus things like Ezreal, because the Ezreal can easily just go through your entire team. The balls positioning is also a lot better versus a board like this Vex, where our entire front line is very clumped and our back line is very clumped. Like, we might lose this fight just due to positioning. Oh my god, Sona 2 is such a beast, though. That was a close one, though. That fight was way closer than it had to be. If you do the 2 disco balls next to each other, I think it's a lot easier to win that fight because your front line isn't so clumped, your back line isn't so clumped. But we still win anyway, so who cares? Looking at final item here that we're going to get from this dragon here, I would still think we would just want to finish off a Blitzcrank item here. Maybe he just didn't think the Declaw was very good, and maybe he'll pick up something here. I guess we'll see. Yeah, Vow seems fine. Warmogs is great. Yeah, I like Warmogs a lot in a spot like this. I mean, no, actually, just regardless, you have enough armor from your Bramble Vest, so the Warmogs is going to give you a lot more effective HP, and the Warmogs is going to scale off of the Crown Guard. Ooh, quick swap here to the damage Sona here. He says, I don't really need the ability to delete frontliners. I just want to snipe some backliners with this Sona here. It doesn't look the strongest, but I mean, maybe that was just a fight we're going to lose regardless. I don't know. I like attack speed Sona a decent bit in this comp. He's just going to go 10 here. Wow. Yeah, he says, I need to spike my board now, so let's go 10. Look for something like a Kiana. Sees a headliner Kiana, but obviously we can't get out of this Blitzcrank at this point. Can move his entire board over to the left side here. We are fighting an Ezreal board, and my god, this person's 3 off Ezreal 3, by the way. It's a little scary the way these Ezreals can just jump and delete backline, but it looks like, yeah, just the Blitzcrank actually tanks it out, and the damage Sona does enough work that we win that. There's the Kiana finally onto this board, and yeah, we have an insanely capped version of the board, and we just have to beat Vanilla's board here. We are no longer... Okay, yeah, we're going to switch back towards sort of how we're positioning in the other fight here. Yeah, a very similar positioning, though Sona's a bit safer here. Hopefully this is less likely to get Viego'd really hard, and yeah, our backline survives. It doesn't really get Viego'd here, which is really nice. Sona cast 1 does good damage. Second Sona cast does a little bit of damage, but just barely doesn't finish it here. That's a Ziggs 2 on Carousel, right, if we can pick it up, so I think you always want that. Only downside is we have just the TG on Ziggs, but if he rolls decent items, ooh, and Guardbreaker is definitely a decent item, then you'll be pretty happy, and he can just redemption a frontliner onto this like a Lowry or something. Ooh, he's just gonna Jazz in here. Yeah, I mean, Jazz is a very solid synergy. This Kiana 1 isn't doing too much. Yeah, I like Jazz a lot here. Ooh, this is scary positioning versus that Viego, though, because it's gonna attract this Viego to ult the middle of your backline. But I think he says, you know, he's getting up, he's doing the donk walk. He's saying, with all the upgrades that I found, this is always going to be a dub, and it is. So really cool. He is losing it, man. Really cool game from Robin, playing a comp that I think a lot of people are hating on, and I mean, I think with good, for good reason. I think this comp is not very strong, but managing to pull out a first in an insanely stacked lobby through just going fast 9 into disco, that was really cool. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Twitch and all my other links down below. Thanks for watching.